I wanted to make a video kind of exploring why it is that we ride bikes. Like, why do we even bother? And I didn't really want to make this video too sort of wishy-washy and non-specific, but you have to admit that motorbikes aren't a practical form of transport. You know, if we wanted something practical, or even cheap or whatever, we'd get a car. As much as I'd hate to admit it, I think for most people, the way you want to get around is in a car. You know, you're protected from the elements, it's fairly cheap, it's warm, and a lot safer. So I think it's impossible to make a video about why we ride without mentioning some of that emotional aspect. And I thought it would be nice to take you guys down some of my favourite roads, including this one. It's not a very quick road, there is a 40 mph limit, but for some of these curves you can see up here, some of these bends are so blind that you have to take them so slow. But that's not a problem for me, I don't mind that. It's just typical that on the one day I decided to come down and film it, there's a huge van in front of me. But I think even with that van, you can still appreciate just the beauty of this road, you know, with the trees and the shadows and everything. And I think that's why I ride bikes, because I love being outside, I love nature, I love hiking and camping and all these things. And I think motorbikes are just a great way to combine that appreciation of the outdoors with, you know, motoring and transport. In a car you lose that, you really do. You know, I've come down some of these roads in a car, you know, if I'm with friends and I say, hey, you know, take this road, it's really nice, and it's completely different. In fact, it's unenjoyable because it's so narrow. But on a bike, it's just a completely different experience. The only part I don't love about this road is the speed bumps on the other end. They must have had a really bad problem with people speeding, because these bumps are just some of the most brutal, some of the most brutal I've ever experienced. Into the Nationals. And I think the reason I'm so focused on safety and trying to keep myself alive on the bikes is because it is so enjoyable, and I want to be able to do this for a long time. I don't want to be able to do this for 2-3 years until I crash and then I can't ride again. You know, I want to be riding all the way up into, you know, for as long as I'm able to. And I think it's important not to lose sight of that. It's important, you know, kind of to live for the moment, but also to think about the long term as well. But there's just something about motorcycling, I don't know if it is that element of risk, or if it's, you know, the fact that you're kind of exposed to the elements and to the road. You're so much more in tune with what's going on around you, because you have to be. If there's potholes or leaves on the ground or gravel or something, in a car that doesn't matter. In a bike it could be the difference between, you know, staying upright and not. I think motorcycling is just an emotional pursuit, you know, for better or for worse. That's why you see a lot of these videos of people getting super angry and smashing wing mirrors and whatever. It's because something happens, you know, someone goes to pull out on you or something, and it's scary. And not that the correct response is to go damage someone's property, but that's why people do it. You know, your emotions kind of take over a little bit. Partly for ego, or for, you know, for views or whatever, but, you know, just that kind of instinct when someone wrongs you on the road to be angry about it. It's an emotional instinct. Someone put you and your bike in danger. And the same is true in the reverse, you know, when you come down these roads, your emotional response to it is so much greater than if you were in a car. Anytime I've been upset or angry or whatever, and I've come for a ride, it goes away. Partly because it has to. You can't be riding thinking about something that's happened before you set out. And partly because the ride is just so enjoyable. Yeah, how can you be angry when you're on your bike? More people should ride motorbikes, I think. There are downsides, you know, being exposed to the weather. Even though it's sunny, it's quite cold today. That's not the most comfortable. Not having a lot of storage, you know, luggage, and being able to carry a couple of your friends and everything. It is a downside to being on a bike, but for those times when those things aren't important, it's just, the upside is so worth it to me. This is my favourite road here, I think. Super nice. Yeah, just like straight as an arrow, and the scenery is great, but it's still 40, you know, and I have seen police officers kind of hiding around here. I mean, you shouldn't speed even if there aren't, you know, officers with speed guns, but it's just extra reason not to do it, especially on a nice sunny day when this place is full of bikes. Yeah, you can bet you're not speeding down here, unfortunately. Everyone else has already ruined that. I think the community is a huge part, you know, where I'm heading to now. Usually, like I said, on a nice sunny day, it's going to be rammed full of bikes, especially on a weekend. And you can just kind of go there if you start chatting to someone or whatever. You know, the conversation just takes off, because I think only other bikers will understand, you know. It's not just a shared hobby. I mean, any shared hobby, you can chat to people and kind of get along with them instantly, but especially bikes, there's just something different about it. Maybe it's the fact that most people don't get it, you know. It's not always the safest way of getting around. You know, you can do a lot to help keep yourself safe, but when it goes wrong, it's usually much worse news. I think I'm so into motorcycling now, I don't think I could ever not. That's why I try my best to keep myself injury free, you know. I don't want to be off the bike for 6 months or a year or 2 years or whatever. I just want to be riding, and that's it.